Good evening, Lagos. Good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, Africa. Good evening to the whole world. It's another exciting episode of Find Your Voice, Own Your Space. And this is the night edition. I believe that I deserve a round of applause. I mean, this started as a conversation with a friend and a brother, Ceci, and I'm 9 episodes stronger, better, more knowledgeable, improved. I dare say that, and I'm really glad that this is gradually becoming a movement. And to all of our guests that have been a part of this, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, Find Your Voice and Own Your Space is a platform where career professionals, business leaders, they share their stories on how they've been able to find their voice in the different spheres of influence, and they're currently owning their spaces and influencing their spaces to make the world a better place. And like I said before, we've had 8 guests, and this is our ninth guest today, our ninth guest today. And this guest is very special to me. And I'm glad that I'm bringing her on this. It's a dream come true for me. There's the adage that says, "Show me your friend, and I'll tell you who you are." But beyond being my best friend, she is a spatial practitioner. She's an associate lecturer at the University of Plymouth in the Department of Architecture. She's a researcher. She's a volunteer. She she has been interviewed on BBC on the basis of volunteering, and today we'll just look at her journey, how she started from architecture and the benefits of volunteering as a career professional. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me, my bestie, Olasumbo Olaniyi. Is your
Hi,
bestie this one?
bestie.
Is your bestie this one? Yeah. Is your bestie this fine? I don't think
Yes, so
so.
hi,
I don't think so.
bestie.
Hi, girl. Oh my God, this feels so. This is what you call friendship goals.
I know, right?
This
I'm
is what you
so,
call
so, so,
friendship
so
goals.
glad to be here.
Okay, let me calm down. It's good to have you on the show, and thank you for doing this with me. I deeply appreciate it. It means a lot to me,
Mm.
and what it tells me is, well, you've always been a supporter of my dreams and my ideas and everything. So yeah, like you're cool like that. But I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful for you. But we'll move on quickly to the business of the day. I think we'll continue our love talk after the episode. But how has your journey been? I mean, I know that we we became friends after the pandemic, and by December we'll be 5 years strong. Yeah. So if you see me being very excited today, my bestie is on this.
We should take Anko. I
Oh
shall
dear
be
God.
lodging. 5th anniversary.
5 year anniversary. Friendship anniversary.
Yes,
Anyway,
so
so I mean, I know that you're currently having your PhD in special practice, right? And you started this journey on architecture, and a few times, I mean, I've had to sit with you when you do some of your work whilst you were in Nigeria. And because of my background knowledge in geography, it just fascinates me how your passion, your intentionality, and I see how you're very detailed on your work. But the question right now is, how did you find your voice first as an architect, then moving into spatial practice?
Fantastic. First of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, I must say, and I'm so proud of you. I literally, watched you blossom, and I know that you're definitely going to blossom beyond what is, the current state that you are. And just like we joke
Definitely.
amongst ourselves, the inside joke of the it's literally happening, and we can see it
Yeah.
unfold, and it's such a privilege to see that unfold. So very proud of you, always supporting you, always there to support,
Yeah.
and very privileged obviously to be here. a joy to contribute to your platform and to also help maybe put one or two blocks in place as well. So yes.
Yeah.
So when you spoke to me about it, to be candid, I think I started thinking about the byline for the podcast, which was, find your voice and own your own space. And for me, I started thinking about these individual words. When you find something, you're probably discovering something. And then the your there sort of speaks to your own personality as well. And then the voice obviously means, some form of power, some form of communication, some form of amplifying what it is that you do right beyond yourself and then across many skills
Yeah.
of existence, so to say. So for me, I would say that I am finding my voice because I believe
Okay.
that it's a journey. I don't think it is a sprint. In fact, I feel like it is a marathon with milestones, along the way, right? And when you get to certain milestones,
Yeah.
obviously there would be maybe the opportunity to rest, to reset, to recharge, to reassess, and then progress further on. So for me, I would say I'm currently at a milestone, which is where the PhD sort of comes in. And it's definitely going to be a full marathon. But to the story of how I got into architecture, that's a very interesting story. Interestingly, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday and just sharing about how I got into architecture. And the honest truth is, I just had a nudging that I wanted to be an architect. Nobody in my family is an architect, and I would say as early as
Okay.
yeah, as early as probably 6, I just knew I wanted to be an architect. And every single person who asked me, yes, absolutely. Every single person who asked me, I just said I wanted to be an architect. I just wanted to design places. I just wanted to do buildings. And I just wanted to create things for people, right? And God bless my parents. God bless my church as at that time. But my parents were very there to fan the flames. My mom, especially, who would buy books, make me read those books, make me recall some of the things that I learned from those books. And then my dad, on the other hand, who would drive us around construction sites, take us to sites. I will come down, ask questions, go in. It was so, so, so exciting. And then on the other hand of society, where I say church, because that's somewhat an institution that's outside of the family, right? In church, I had a pastor then, and he's still my pastor, but he's no longer in that parish. But I had a pastor in that parish who
Okay.
would encourage young children, teenagers, and whatnot to sort of, act your profession, right? So we would have to, yes,
Yeah.
we would have to act our profession. And I remember drawing plans, going to do like serious research, drawing plans, doing
Wow.
things with pencil, paper, color pencil, and then standing in front of the whole church to present my ideas, right? So it was yeah, for me it was more like a light bulb moment where I just wanted to be an architect. I didn't have any precedents in front of me. Nobody that I knew was doing architecture, but I just knew that I wanted to do architecture, and I pursued architecture all the way. So my parents were very, very supportive. I was also very, very inquisitive. Society also really, really played a good role
Yeah.
in helping me to fan what's it called, the flames of my architectural dreams. And yeah,
So when you say,
yes,
sorry, excuse me, Simbo. So when you say
yes.
society, do you mean, because you've mentioned church
Mhm,
as a part of
mhm.
society? So what other aspect of society are you
So
saying?
that's
Because, and the reason why I'm saying
yeah.
this is because hold on, Simbo. So the reason I'm asking this question is because on our previous episode,
Mm,
our guest had said the society where she was in were not supportive
mm.
of what she could and couldn't do. But you are then telling us that from your own experience on your side of the world, because different people have different experiences, right? In as much as she had supportive parents, but church or the society weren't as supportive. So when you've talked about church, which I mean is usually um one of the social places that Christians would also interact with other individuals. So when you say society, what exactly are you talking about?
Yes, so that's one arm of society where you talk about, church. On the other hand, institutions such as like educational facilities, schools, and the likes. So I remember then when I was in school, I was, I think it was very obvious that I wasn't the typical child, so to say, because I was more into the creatives. So, and they were very, very receptive towards it. I remember being in drama club. I remember being in dance club. I remember being in debates. Yes,
Nice.
debates.
Nice.
And then I also used to run, right? So I used to run and represent the what's it called, the school in relay racing, in like high jump. So I
Yeah.
was really really into the extracurricular, right? I was into art. I was into a lot of all of that. And I remember my mom mentioning once to me that while I was young, a teacher of mine walked up to her once and said they had noticed that I was actually a very reserved child, but I was very creative. So I wasn't the very vocal, sort of like loud kind of child. I was very reserved, very composed, but then I was very, very handy. So that really helped me. And I was put in a class where those skills were sort of harnessed, right? Which was at primary level. At some point, I was even learning music. So I learned how to play the piano. I think I put my hand on every single creative thing that I could, because for me, it was a way of expressing myself. And so when I moved into secondary school as well, because I already had been saying, oh, I wanted to do architecture, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, the teachers, my teachers who were in Intratech and technical drawing, also took note of that. And till
Yes.
today, which was, I think, over 15, 20 years ago now, till today, my Intratech teacher is still in touch with me and my mom, because they just were very,
That's
exactly, they were
nice.
still very, very what's it called? They're very intentional about cultivating
Hmm.
ideas, about honing the ideas, about helping me to sort of put flesh to like the bones that what I was
Hmm.
sort of fledging out. Then on the other arm as well, I think much more with family. My mom also did reach out to people who were also in architecture as well. Like I said, my parents, my
Architecture.
parents are
Oh.
not in architecture. They're in other fields entirely. But because they had noticed that I was very passionate about it, I was unrelenting about, doing architecture, they did go the extra mile to find people who were already in that space and get information from them so that they could also help me to pursue the right dream. So it's been, I'd say, all round aspects of society really does contribute to how we develop and how we are able to discover our voices as well. And like I said, it's not a marathon. Ever since then, my voice has evolved. It's been evolving into undergraduate, postgraduate, and now into the PhD program that I'm currently running, which is more like an intersection of spatial practice, and that is now
Mhm.
deviating towards a mixture of art and architecture. And it wasn't.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say it's the mainstream architecture that everybody is used to, because everybody is used to very pragmatic things about architecture. It has to be building, has to be
Sure.
development, it has to be maybe urban planning and the likes. But when you begin to talk about spatial practice, there is the intersection of, like I said, arts and architecture, there is people and place, there is policy and practice. And you begin to understand that life is not linear. It's very multidimensional, especially when you're looking at it from that lens. And it begins to tease out the social part of architecture. It begins to look at the political side of architecture. It begins to look at the cultural
Yeah.
side of architecture, which somewhat seems to be
Mm.
lacking at the moment, especially within West Africa, if I might say, which is really lacking in West Africa. And you begin to see how our spaces are very much rigid, and sometimes how most of our spaces are built on westernized ideologies or frameworks, which shouldn't be the case, right? We all have our very much different or unique identities, which architecture should help amplify, rather than taking other
Goodness.
things and taking these things just as they are, more like one size fits all, which is not the case. So it's been a very interesting journey. And I would also say that when I sort of deviated into spatial practice, because it's an emerging discipline, even in architecture, I would say it's relatively new. It's probably maybe 20, 25 years at the moment. So it's an emerging space, and
Okay.
it's not a space that is familiar with people, or it's been widely talked about. It's emerging. So the fact that it's emerging makes it very flexible, makes it um, very unknown, makes it very unfamiliar, and people who are
Mhm.
coming into that space are sort of the ones that are determining the principles and the precepts, so to say. So it's taking me a while to get very comfortable with the unfamiliar.
Yeah,
Because like I
I
said,
know.
I was um, very challenged by how our architecture is just very technical. And I found that I was leaning more to how architecture could be a tool that could change society, how it could be a tool that could influence policy and make policy a lot more diverse, inclusive, and then how architecture could also be a way to talk about pressing issues, real life issues, mainstream
Hmm.
issues, as well. So it's for me, it was just a way to redefine what architecture meant to me, and to begin to be comfortable with standing outside of the crowd, right? Because everybody is used to architecture being in one way. But innovation really starts from you questioning things. Innovation starts from you looking closer into things to find gaps. And I found that gap when I was in my undergraduate, because, and I say this lightly though, without no hard feelings, but I believe that the educational system, especially when I went into higher education, the undergraduates didn't do justice to the what's it called, the attendees. We were we're conditioned, and I use the word lightly, we're conditioned to regurgitate or reproduce rather than to critique things and question.
Create, critique and create.
The
Yeah, question and then
For
create or
me,
recreate or innovate.
exactly. And that's where innovation comes from, just like you have said. That's where new ideas come
Yeah,
from. That's where new ways to produce knowledge comes from. But if you continue the cycle
true that.
of, oh, we just go in, la cram, la pour, we go in, la cram, la pour, nothing changes. And we need change
Hmm.
drastically. We need change makers. And that process starts right in the educational systems. So for me, when I was in undergraduate, I was really sick of what I was being taught. And I remember having questions, multiple questions, every single time I had to do a presentation. But most of my lecturers then couldn't respond to some of these questions because they felt that, oh, architecture cannot capture some of these things. Maybe I was a bit too emotional about certain things. Maybe I was probably lost in like eloquence and using like big words. But then and again, when you are in a space that they don't understand your language, one thing I've also learned is, or two things that I've learned is, first of all, check your language, because sometimes it's not just about using big words, right? Communication is being able to explain complex things in simple ways so that even the youngest person in society can understand you clearly, right? So check your language.
Yeah,
And then the second thing I would say is check your context, because if you are saying the right thing but you're in the wrong place, you will be shouting into an empty room, right? So when I check my
you'll be misunderstood as well.
Exactly. So when I checked my language and I found that, okay, my language is actually correct, but I think I'm in the wrong space. For me, that was the turning point where I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to look for what I know. And if it wasn't in the shores of Nigeria, I wouldn't mind looking elsewhere just to get what it is I wanted. So that has really helped with shaping my mindset, shaping my perspective to architecture,
I know.
even just talking about architecture. And I've been to a couple of conferences, a couple of places where people just ask me, are you sure you're talking about architecture? Because I guess probably what they're expecting is, oh, when you get to the building, it should be 6 meters by 6 meters, it should be this height, it should be this color. And that is not to say that all of those things are not correct. They are absolutely correct. But there are deeper issues that need to be addressed. There are deeper issues that need to be addressed, such that we're just not creating things that end up being useless. or end up being
Hmm.
redundant, or end up even causing more issues for the future, right? So you need to think about those things very critically. So I think, yeah, that's really about about it from my end. And yes, thinking about the journey into research, I would say that it's been daunting. I don't think it's very easy to go into doing a PhD in architecture.
So,
It wasn't
Sumbo,
what I
before, Sumbo, sorry, before you go
expected.
into research, right? Yeah, I
Yes,
talked about
yes.
architecture. So, if you're going to explain architecture to a 5-year-old, what will you define architecture as?
Okay, absolutely. That's a good thing. So I'll say architecture is the ability to make things, simply put, nothing harder than that. So everyone who is a maker can be an architect. So even, fashion designers, even urban planners, even engineers,
Hmm.
the fact that you're able to put something together really, really is, what architecture is all about, simply put.
That is the most simplified version of the definition of
Exactly,
architecture.
because the
So,
word itself is also very complex.
like, it doesn't have to be this answer. It's not that deep, So now,
Exactly. Mm.
going into research, so you were talking about the journey into research. So how has that worked for you so far?
Well, I'd say it's not easy. Going into research has been daunting, and I'd say it's been challenging because I've had to confront myself. Actually, sometimes when you are in a place, you're subconsciously indoctrinated into things that go on there, and as
Hmm.
much as I knew that I wanted to do things differently and I wanted to approach architecture differently, my programming was already very rigid. So it took me a while to unlearn a lot of the things that I had been taught, even some of the skills that I had, and begin to look at them in different ways and how these could communicate fresh ideas, new ideas, very much differently than what I was used to. And I think the first thing that I had to confront was what a drawing meant. So in architecture, when you begin to talk about drawing or drawing packages, you have
Yeah.
the plan, you have the section, elevation, and all of that.
Yeah.
But when you begin to look at those in terms of philosophy, or in
Hmm.
terms of literature, or in terms of research, drawing is like a library on its own, because it could mean creative pieces, it could mean an artwork, it could mean visual, it could mean audio material, it could be anything, right? Because when you're talking about the fact that you draw, there is an artist, there is a product, and there is an action. So once you sort of do all of that, you are producing a drawing. Now, the product, you now determining the kind of product that comes out of it. That's where we begin to talk about, oh, okay, so now it's a visual stuff, now it's a textual stuff, now it's a so it's for me, that was the first thing I had to confront, because when I heard, okay, produce a drawing, in my head, I was like, drawing? What do you mean by this? But that has made me to create, very unique pieces, and even begin to look at life very differently, and to question every single thing that I'm told, or every single word, even the words that I thought I knew. I go back to check it. Even the very simple words that I use, I go back to check, and I understand that now there are different perspectives, there are different ways to perceive things, there are different ways to
Yeah.
present things. And that richness, oh my God, that richness for me is so exciting, because you become very multidimensional. You just don't see
Yeah.
things one way anymore. Like, your view is broadened, your horizon is broadened, your approach to things changes. There's just a multiplicity of things that you can begin to unpack in that sense. So even the whole idea of research for me also became very simple, because when you think about research, you feel like, oh, research, it's such a difficult
Mm.
thing. It's a thing reserved for like the high and mighty, people with like intellectual agility and all of that. And it's not to say it's not for people like that. But I believe every single human being does some level of research because it's just your ability to be curious, your ability to be able to search for things and find things, right? Your ability for
So
you to
hold
be
on.
able to,
So
yeah.
it's interesting how you are corroborating what our previous guest had
Mm,
said. And she said that research, the curiosity. Okay, I'm
mm,
gonna phrase it properly. That curiosity, no, research is the big word for curiosity.
mm.
Being able
Interesting.
to ask, yeah. And it's really
Interesting,
beautiful
yeah.
that you are corroborating what she had said in our previous episode,
Mm,
because she
mm.
made it. It was like, see, research is just asking the right questions and
Absolutely. Asking the right questions
asking
to the right
asking
people.
the right to the right people, and then following through till you get your answer,
Absolutely.
and not just
Absolutely.
stopping at the answer,
Hmm.
knowing what to do with the answer that you have to make the world a better place.
Absolutely. Well put. Beautifully put. I don't think I have anything in addition. I think maybe the only thing that I would add is to,
Mm-hmm.
what's it called, is to approach like life as a child. It's so funny that
Hmm.
when you are in postgraduate school, right, and you are considered an expert or a professional, when you speak
Yeah.
with professors, they always tell you, think about a child, someone who is 7 years and below. What you are saying, how would you explain it to that child? How would the child understand? How will they receive the information? Think about it being communicated to a
From the
child. So
perspective
for
of it,
you,
yeah, it
exactly, for the
helps.
perspective of a child. And when you look at the physiology or psychology of children, there's a lot of curiosity that goes on in their mind. There is
Yes.
a lot of naivety that comes into their mind. And you'd realize that, oh my God, as an adult, I think I'm losing that part of me. And research is fueled by that. There should be
Hmm.
some level of innocence. You don't know everything. You want to know. And that's why you're going into research. There should be that curiosity. What is hidden there? You know, when you put something somewhere, and you probably have a child, they would crawl there and try to unpack everything in that box, right?
They
That
just
is what
want to know.
research, exactly. So that is what research does to you. There's the naivety component, there is the curiosity component, there is the composition component, where even after the child has taken everything out of the box, they're sort of trying to make sense of what is in this box, right? And then they put it in multiple ways and they form different things, right?
Things
So
with
that's
it,
how
yeah.
research is. And when you keep moving those parts around, you keep making things, right? And it begins to show you possibilities. It begins to show you, okay, perhaps if I put this and this together, I will get this. If I take this apart, I will get this. And you just repeat that cycle over and over again. And for me, when I look at the RE in front of research, it means repeat. So you repeat that process
Mm.
over and over and over and
All
over
over
again.
again.
Exactly. So it's not ending, right? And the whole process of research, like I said, it's been very humbling because I thought that I was inquisitive. Oh my God. Oh
You
my
realize that
God.
you and being inquisitive, well, you're not even next door neighbors. You're
Oh
miles
my
apart. You
God.
people are not even in the same city. Do you
You
understand
get
me now?
it. I didn't know. I didn't know.
You'll be thinking that no, I know how to ask questions. Even
You
when
get it.
questions fear me, but you
Oh
realize that
my
research is like, don't
goodness.
worry, don't
Exactly. So
they
I
play, my
thought that
dear.
I was inquisitive, and I was even in a space where my inquisition was fueled, right? So I wasn't even shut down as a kid. So I can now imagine how people who were shut down, how they probably will feel. Because even me who
Feel
wasn't shut down, there was some level of apprehension. There was some form of hesitation to now asking certain questions. Because at some point I felt like, oh my God, are these questions the right questions? Am I asking the right people? Am I doing it the
Hmm.
right way? Am I approaching it the right way?
Wow.
And the questions, keep coming and coming and coming. And I guess because it's also something that I haven't done before, there was some level of fear that was embedded in it. But yeah, research has just taught me go ahead and do it. And being in a space in the academic space, I've seen my predecessors also try things. I guess from the outside it looked as though, oh, they had everything all figured out, but they're actually
But then
also
you get
learners,
to, yeah,
right? Exactly,
yeah.
but they're learners with experience, and I just was a learner without experience. So me being on the
Hmm.
job was, learning, like the analogy that I used, when you're a baby and you get to the box, you pull out the box, you put things together, and it works, you begin to repeat that cycle again and again and again. So that's literally, what research does for you. And like I said, it's also opened up many opportunities as well. People that I have met in the process of doing research, in the process of asking questions, in the process of engaging ideas that I thought were maybe just mine alone. I've also found like minds as
Hmm.
well. And I perhaps didn't find like minds in Nigeria. I found like minds in other places as well, because I was very deliberate. I was very deliberate as to where and who as well, because um, I didn't want my ideologies to be colored. And when I say colored,
Hmm.
in the sense that I had shared like my ideas with some people and they had just outrightly told me it wouldn't work.
Because it's not common in this side of the world. It's not
Exactly.
common. It's not a common practice in Nigeria. So
Exactly.
it only makes sense that you have to go to the places where it has gained a level of influence, so
Exactly.
that and because of this, what you had always wanted to do. Fantastic.
Mhm.
So because of time, I want to make sure that we can have this conversation as much as we can. I would have to bring you back
If you don't bring me
on
back, who
season
are you
two.
bringing? Let me brag.
Sorry, apologies. Applaudis more. Bestie rights. Yes, definitely. He
Yes,
has the right as a
yes. So
bestie. Do you understand? So, as a career professional, I
yes.
see that you enjoy volunteering.
Mm,
I mean, hello, please, you're my friend. You like to help my life,
mm,
right? Hello, you're helping my life right
yes, yes,
now,
absolutely.
right? But
Hmm.
I see your passion to want to be a blessing to
Mm,
people, and you extend this as an art of volunteering for Oba Beta, which is also in alignment with what you do as a spatial practitioner,
yes. Hmm.
right? So, what then filled your love for volunteering, and what were the benefits you've enjoyed? Now, before you answer that question, I want to give a very big shout out to our viewers on LinkedIn and on YouTube. We are live right now on LinkedIn at Jade Sola Adewodun, and we're also live on YouTube at Lady Jade Global. So please, if you're watching us from YouTube, please make sure that you drop a comment, an emoji. If you're watching us live on LinkedIn, remember to drop us a comment, an emoji, send your love and your messages. We would receive them. So, Sumbo, over to you, because I want to see how we can wrap up as quickly as we can. Because I
Yeah.
want us, I mean, again, like I said, I'll bring you back to season two, but
Okay, so
why volunteering and what were the benefits that came in as a result of you volunteering?
oh my God, that's another. Oh my God, that's another box you want to unpack. So, volunteering for
Unpack
me
it in
in
20
20
minutes.
minutes,
Yes.
or maybe less than 20
Unpack
minutes.
it 20 minutes, my darling.
Wow. So,
Try your best. Try your
yes,
best.
I will try
You
my
can do
best.
this.
So, I've from what I can remember, I've actually volunteered from very young. I think when I was in GSS3, actually, and I've always volunteered. So my secondary school had clubs outside of what's it called,
Yeah.
outside of class, outside of a number of things. They had a lot of clubs, and we were asked to join some of these clubs as well, outside of like academic work and all the other things that we did.
Extracurriculars.
Exactly, extracurricular activity. So I remember joining. charity club. And we then at that time used to visit the motherless babies, prisons, old people's homes, a lot of all of those things, right? People with a number of, I think, children who were born with HIV and some other conditions as well. So we would organize as a club, contribute things, and go and visit those people, right? So that was on one side. In church, there was also very frequent visits to like prisons. I remember going to Kirikiri prison in Nigeria, Lagos, very early as well, and a number of all these like motherless babies, evangelism, a lot of all of those things, right? So it was in the process of doing some of those things that I really got in touch with people outside of me. And I guess, like I said, when you're a child, your mind is still very young, still very receptive. So for me, that really shaped my world and helped me to see that my existence was just not for me alone. It was for people around me and
Mm,
people outside of me. And sometimes even people that I don't know, I should be able to connect with them some way, somehow. So for me, that drive
okay.
was there, and it was born to always try to meet people, try to contribute, try to do things. So I volunteered for so many organizations. I can't even remember now. There have been so many. I volunteered for some when I was in Futa, because I did my undergraduate in Futa. I did some volunteering for them.
This was footer.
FUTA is
Because
Federal
you need to,
University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria. That is
yeah.
what FUTA
So
is. Mhm.
it's a university
In
in
Nigeria.
Ondo State in
Absolutely.
Nigeria because we have international
Oh,
audience.
absolutely.
Okay,
My
Hoti.
apologies. My
Yeah.
apologies. So yes, like I said, it's been something I started really young, and I just really love when people are fine, people are catered to, and they're doing really well, and I could also extend like my own hand of assistance to them. So that journey sort of started, and then I took on multiple roles and multiple positions where I was just volunteering. But the good thing about volunteering across the board was because it also helped to hone my skills. So I remember one of the major organizations that I volunteered for when I was an undergraduate, which was, I think, Realize Nigeria, if I remember correctly. That's the name of the foundation as at that time. And I had to do like some radio co-hosting. I had to do like some script writing. I had to do some drama. I had to act. I had to do a lot of things, right? So that for me was more like helping me to build my skills, to learn how to work with people, to learn how to work with different skills, to learn how to also work in different places as well. And then that followed through up until I graduated. And I did some work for another um, NGO where I was a financial secretary and a treasurer, which is very different from all the things that I had done. So, right, having to manage the books, having
Mm,
to produce reports, having to do presentations, having to present on behalf of the group in public, all of those things, right, were building my skills as a person. And they were also helping me develop faster than my age because I was being exposed to like inner workings. I was exposed to things that were going on behind the scene. I was sort of being
mm,
mentored by proxy by people who were very sound and very exposed to things that were happening around them. So that also happened. Then I carried on with my volunteering up until I started volunteering with another organization in Nigeria where we will go into slums and talk to underserved children, teach them, mentor them. And in the process of doing that, I also had to work with a team to create a curriculum. So that was also another level of experience as well, where we had to look at educational curriculums, civic skills, recycling, environmental justice, a lot of all of that. And then that sort of moved till we got to Urban Better, which was what gave me the platform to be featured by BBC Africa, right? And some of the activism work that I did in collaboration with the organization and some other team members as well was what sort of brought us to the fall. Hello, Lady Jade.
Please go on. Please go on. It was a
I
network
should go on.
interruption.
Okay. So that was a lot of like my experiences. I've had so much, and I've embedded myself in so much. I had pushed myself to do all of that, and that came with a lot of discipline. I would say it
Hmm.
wasn't, all of these things were not a walk in the park. Came with a lot of discipline where, um, when you think about this, I think scale of preference, right? Yeah, scale of preference and opportunity
Mm-hmm.
cost. You have to think about, okay, what is the priority? What am I gaining? What am I losing? And all of these things obviously were getting me a step further in my journey. And like I said in the beginning, it's been a milestone. So at different, I mean, it's been a marathon. At different places, I could point that, oh, okay, I've actually developed, and this is a milestone for me. And then I move the goalpost again, and then this is another milestone. So volunteering for me has offered so many benefits. I've met so many people from all walks of life. In fact, my current what's it called? My current academic mentor is one of the top professors in Cambridge. And I met her through volunteering,
Okay.
right? I met her through volunteering. So it just it just has opened so many doors. And I guess because it's an unpaid activity, most people tend to shy away from it, right? And I understand that, okay, yes, money, 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 money. But then knowledge for me is the goal, because I believe that when you get knowledge, money would find you, right? And whatever you,
Follow.
exactly, and whatever you get, whatever form of knowledge you have, can never be taken away from you. It's yours, is yours, it's most times almost inexhaustible. Unlike money that gets exhausted. Yes, you get paid maybe 50,000, 20,000. In a blink of an eye, 20,000 is gone. But whatever is in your head always
One.
remains there. And the way the brain works, it won't
Remain.
shock you to realize that things that happened 20, 30 years ago, your brain will recall. But money that you spent maybe 20,
Remember. Yeah.
30 years ago, you might not even remember who gave it to you. The money has gone, it has gone.
Excuse me. The money you spent last
Exactly.
week, do you remember?
Exactly. So
The 20 years is too
my
short. The money you spent yesterday, you must have a very faint memory.
let's not loud. So when you think about all of those, like I said, the people that I've met, in fact, it gave me the opportunity to also travel out of Nigeria, because I did, yes, I did reach
Mm.
out to what's it called, one of my like mentors by proxy as well, and she was able to string me along. I was able to travel out of Nigeria. It was sponsored. A number of opportunities that have come up just because of my ability to volunteer, or my interests rather, in volunteering. And even post, leaving Nigeria, I still have not stopped volunteering. I currently still volunteer where I am. And that's because I have that passion to help people around me. I still volunteer with organizations here where we serve people, we give talks, and these, what's it called? These volunteering opportunities have also opened up much more platforms for me. So I was invited to speak on my experience on so many platforms. I was invited to conferences. So these are things that for me, money cannot buy. And my whole
Yeah.
idea, or even going into volunteering, was not to get anything. The whole purpose of going into volunteering was to serve. But service has sort of yielded results for me. And has
For you.
yielded results, in many ways. And I'm sure it's still probably going to yield results in many other ways that I probably am not thinking of right now. But it's something that I would encourage almost every single person to do. Mind you, I know that it's very difficult to volunteer, but speaking as one who has volunteered, I would say that the benefits really outweigh the what's it called, the disadvantages that most people think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it even, for some people, I know that it's gotten them jobs as well. Probably in the
Mm.
process of maybe seeking a job, they just volunteered, and they probably maybe met somebody there who just picked a liking or took a liking in them and was like, okay, I think I can work with you. Right. And one thing I've also noticed as well with volunteering is people actually watch you, people study you. And I remember one of my mentors saying that people study how you react to things that they don't pay you for, right? And your reaction really determines your interest or your character. And for me, I was just like, wow. So they say the way in which you treat these things will tell them a lot, that even if you are paid, would
About
you
your
maybe do
person.
better? Maybe you might want to do better because money is the incentive, but your true person is the one that's reflecting without any benefits, right? Without getting anything in return. So there's so much about volunteering that I've really benefited from. And then on the career path as well, the professional side, one thing that I know is most organizations now take note of volunteering as well. So the reasoning is, okay, yes, you're a professional, yes, you are sound, your qualifications and whatnot show that yes, you can perform, you can execute tasks and whatnot. But
Excellently well.
how are you contributing to the broader society? What are you doing? If you are sort of championing change and saying, oh, you want things to be better, isn't the change meant to start with you? Like, we are all contributors to
Yes.
the state of our society, and waiting for one person to cause a radical change, it feels as though you would wait forever, right? So everybody sort of doing what they can in their respective places is literally what makes everywhere better. So they begin to look at those things as well, because they're beginning to see that you have to put the social back into society. And maybe that had been lost for a while, or that had been, for want of a better word, that had been muted for a while. And now they need to resurge it back to life, or revive it back to life. So it's been a wonderful experience. I mean, I haven't had a bad experience. I don't hope to have a bad experience. And I'm sure anybody who is
And you will not
on
have a bad experience.
exactly will not have a bad experience.
And amen to that, girl. And amen
Amen.
to that.
Amen. Because I've heard people,
So
tell me of some of the
yeah.
experiences, right? And I cannot act oblivious that some of these opportunities turn sour. They do, but I think that's where you also have to have like boundary set and clear
Mm,
goal sets as to why you're volunteering for a particular organization, what you stand to gain, what you stand to do, how long you plan to be there, and have like an exit plan as well, right? So if things are not sort of panning out as you desire, quickly move, like we move.
you are not a
Exactly.
tree. You can what?
You are not. That's why God gave us
You
legs.
are not a tree.
Exactly. That's why God gave us
You are not
legs.
a lamp post. Even lamp posts are uprooted. Even trees are moved.
Exactly. You have to move.
You have an exit plan.
So that's like literally it
All
in a
right. I mean,
nutshell.
it's
Yes.
yeah. And I really love what you said. So for now, I believe it was. I remember it was last year where you had your interview on BBC. Was it on the premise of you being a volunteer, or how did that come to
Yes.
existence?
So the story is very interesting. I don't think I've shared the story anywhere. So yeah, I would share it on my besties podcast. But yes, it came up.
Bestie
Yes,
privileges, people.
so
See, this is why you need to share this podcast, because we get the juiciest stories
exactly,
on this podcast.
you get the tea, you get the
Over to you,
tea.
girl.
So that happened on the basis of volunteering, actually. So, like I said, I, for one, I really love giving my best to whatever it is I do. So I'm very careful as to how I commit, so I don't stretch myself thin. And when I committed to what's it called, Urban Better, to volunteer, I just was really fascinated about what the organization was trying to do, seeing that it was also the first attempt in West Africa, the first attempt to what's it called, to implement citizen science, which is a method of research that somewhat gives power to the citizens, and the citizens are the ones who get to collect information, get to analyze information,
Mm.
get to embody the context. So for me, it was really new, and I just, like I said, I've always been inquisitive, and I just wanted to participate in something that was new. So when I did see the call, I put in for the call, and I said, okay, I wanted to be part of the organization. So we did a series of workshops, we did a series of activations, and yeah, that was it. And the what's it called, the group was meant to be disbanded because it was more like a
Mm.
test case of, or more like a sample, or more like a mock-up to see whether, okay, it will work or it wouldn't work in West Africa or in Nigeria, and it did work. But like I said, because I really enjoyed what it was, I made sure that I stayed in touch with the team, and I found ways to contribute to what the organization was going for. So there were opportunities to go to events, to maybe represent the team, and I just offered to go. Mind you, I wasn't paid. I just offered to go because for me, I also wanted to learn, and I also wanted to meet new people as
Mm.
well. So I ended up, representing for a number of the events, showing up for some of the online conversations, and then me being present on some of the online conversations. I'll be called upon to speak, and then I did speak. A number of all of those things, right? And the organization had a blog as well, and we were invited to write as well on the blog. So I just said, okay, it's fine. I would like to test my writing skills. And then I wrote two blogs for them. In fact, I didn't mean to write a blog. I had to convert a speech,
Hold on.
right?
Hold on. At what
Yeah.
point was this?
This was,
At what point?
I think, after the activation had happened, which was in 2022. Was it end of 2022? Yes, end of
And
2022.
and you were testing your writing skills, man.
Yes, yes,
Because I know, girl, you had, excuse me, you had a blog that was running consistently.
yes,
So
yes.
what?
That's
All
another
right,
gist.
I will allow you to
That's
enjoy
another
your
gist.
humility at this point. See, I'm going to, because this is me. I'm being stunned. I saw it's okay. Let me focus.
That's another
You are
gist that
trying to
you're
test
aware
your
of.
right.
Maybe another day we'll
We
talk
will
about
meet. We
that
will
gist.
meet after. We will meet after this.
Exactly.
We will see after. Let's focus on this paper. Oh yeah.
So, like I said, I was sort of testing my writing skills, and I wanted to just write. So I wrote.
Don't say it again. Don't say
Sorry,
you're
ma.
testing writing skills. You
Sorry,
wanted
ma.
to
I wanted
explore.
to explore.
Because me, I know that you're a great
I wanted
writer,
to,
but
let
it's
me put
okay.
it like, I
Moving
wanted
on.
to explore. Explore is the word. I wanted to explore. So I wrote a piece for them, which was actually meant to be a speech. So we were invited for an event, and I
Mm.
opted to vote to go for the event, and then I wrote out the speech. And unfortunately, something happened, and we were not able to. I wasn't able to give the speech, right? So the what's it called, the founder just said, okay, you know what, convert it into a blog post. So I converted it into a blog post, and then I uploaded it. That was the first one. And then I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know you could actually write for the blogs. Can I write for the blog and just send it to you to vet and upload? And she said, oh yeah, that's absolutely fine. And then mentioned it to everybody in the group that they should upload, they should send in their blog posts if they were interested. So I wrote a second one, and then I posted it. So after, I think, sending it to them and they posted it, the unbeknown to me that the BBC Africa specialist was actually checking the blog, and then she stumbled on my blog post and said, oh, okay, this person is very interesting. We originally planned out to interview one person, but because of the quality of what you've written, we want to talk to you too as well. So in my head, I was like, okay, this is exciting.
Now you put a plus to that. All of this is where we have an interlude.
Okay.
And this is to tell someone watching this episode, you never know where your skill is going to help you.
Absolutely.
So do not be shy or worried to volunteer. I mean, normally my friend, she writes. No, my friend she's a writer. No, when she's saying she's trying to test her, sit down. I didn't mean crochet go. Sorry. For those of you that don't understand that language,
It means that part of me
my best
question.
friend is My best friend is an amazing, phenomenal, excellent writer.
Mm,
Because it takes someone who has written over time, excellently delivered. She had blog posts over 100, even
mm,
more.
absolutely.
So volunteer. Okay, so I mean, I needed to let's start wrapping up because of time.
Yeah. So that's
Okay,
like,
over
I
to
think
you.
that's the summary. So that's literally what led to me being featured. It was just me volunteering, me being my normal self, me being just wanting to contribute, me just wanting to do something and leave like a good impact wherever I like go actually. So I think that was literally the whole experience with volunteering and how I got featured. Yeah. So
On
just like you were
BBC
saying,
Africa, baby. BBC
yes,
Africa. Yeah.
yes,
It
absolutely.
was before. I traveled the world.
Exactly. And just like you were saying, you really don't know who is watching. You really don't know who is watching. If you overanalyze to the point where it becomes analysis paralysis, you are just doing yourself a disservice. Just put things out, keep putting things out. And when I say keep putting things out, I don't mean you should put rubbish, sorry to say, outside. At least
No
put
mediocre
things
work
that
is
are
allowed.
exactly, put things that are at least up to standard
Wow.
outside. And you can always ask people around you to read, to critique, be very open to what's it called, constructive feedback. In fact, be open to the constructive feedback too as well, because sometimes these things are also good pointers. If you are not open to people pointing out areas that they think is not right, then I feel like there's still some need to work on um, maybe your ego as a person, right? Because that's where people tend to take things personally. But I've come to realize that criticism is not a personal thing, it's just with respect to whatever it is that it's being talked about. And especially when you're even in research and you have to present almost every now and then, and you also have to talk about your work, you will be criticized. So if you sort of don't work on yourself to the point that you are grounded, oh my God, I really don't know where I don't know your case. I don't know what will be your case. You're probably gonna
Don't
be
don't
depressed.
bring inside thing outside. Don't let's bring inside thing outside.
You
We're
get it.
international. We're
You
international.
get it. So that's, that for me will be my advice.
Yeah.
And I think overall it's just finding your own voice, staying through, owning your own voice along like the marathon, and being what's it called, being open-minded, also
Yeah.
realizing that sometimes you're not wrong, you're probably just in the wrong place
Hmm.
and you need to move quickly as
Yeah.
well. Then
Hmm.
you're also not late. Like, I also know that in this time that we are, there's the pressure to want to achieve things quickly, but there are things that cannot be achieved overnight. You can never take away the place of process. You just can't. Like, due process has to be followed. And so you have to stay through that course as well. So you're right where you are. Commit as well to what it is that you're doing. Discipline and consistency. My God, those are very powerful, powerful, powerful tools that one can have in their arsenal. I was reading an article, and excuse me,
Bless you.
I was reading an article. I was reading an article, and the professor was saying that if you can manage to read at least 5 minutes in a day, you will become one of the smartest people by, I think, maybe in the next maybe like 5 years or so. There was a way in which he analyzed it. So sometimes I guess people don't want to stay through the process. They just want to read now. I know it's now. But those
And everything
little
now.
blocks, exactly, those little drops actually become a mighty ocean. So stay disciplined and stay consistent. I think that's it. I'd wrap it up and hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Bestie. Oh my goodness. This is my fave. I mean, I want to be biased at this point. But this is my fave episode yet.
Yes, so every episode is always hotter.
You're definitely it keeps getting better. So thank you so much, Olasumbo. I'm grateful for you. I'm glad that you're in my life. I'm glad that you're my bestie, and I love you. Thank you.
Love
Like
you too, my
I am
dear.
beaming with joy. Like, yeah, like people, that's my best year. You can see how intelligent my best friend is. Now you understand why I'm Lady J Global. This you can you see how he you understand? Because
Oh my God.
I have a bestie that is oh goodness. All
Abi
right.
now, Abi now.
Thank
And
you
I'm
so much for your
so, so,
time.
so proud of you. Like I always
Thank
say, very
you.
proud of
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Very, very
you.
happy to see you grow. And I'm very certain that you will grow beyond
Definitely.
this. You know,
Thank
this is
you.
definitely
Thank
the
you.
the stepping stone to greater heights.
Yeah.
And obviously the sky is not even your
Since
limit. I
we're
feel like
starting from
you
the
know,
galaxy.
outer space is
Yeah.
your starting point. So that's it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing this with me. And we will see behind the camera.
Yeah, yeah. See you. Catch you
We'll see
later.
you later. Bye, darling.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
All right, ladies. And this wraps up the ninth episode of Find Your Voice on Your Space. Till we come your way again. Yes, because we are becoming bigger, better, and much more um improved, right? Thank you. Once again, this is Find Your Voice on Your Space by Lady Jade Global, and we are live every Wednesday between the hours of 7 to 8:30 West African time, and we are live on YouTube and on LinkedIn. The replay will be available on YouTube, so do well. We have an entire playlist on YouTube, so you can catch up on all the other episodes from episode 2 to nine. I mean, we're still working on how we can get episode 1 from LinkedIn to YouTube. But thank you so much for your time. Till we come away again next week. Next week we'll have the 10th episode, and that wraps up season 1 of Find Your Voice and On Your Space. Till I come your way again. Have a lovely Wednesday evening. Bye for now.